Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please rise for the playing of the national anthem.
May we pray. Lord God of hosts, stretch forth, we pray, your almighty arm to strengthen and protect our military forces. Support them in the day of battle and in the time of rest and training. Keep them safe from all evil. Fill them with courage and loyalty, and grant that in all things they may serve without reproach. Above all, grant to our veterans, those serving in our armed forces, their families, our political leaders, and to us, the citizens of this great country, give to us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and above all, may we always have the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. So let it be. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Rolling Thunder Incorporated, Chapter 4, Tennessee. Thank you for inviting us here to participate in your ceremony to memorialize our nation's veterans, as well as afford us the opportunity to get our message out about the plight of the POW, MIA, and veterans' rights issues. Rolling Thunder Incorporated is a national, veterans-oriented organization comprised of state chapters with members dedicated to working on issues for current and future veterans and for POWs, MIAs. Locally, Chapter 4 Tennessee was chartered in March 2003, and by mid-2006 had grown to be the largest chapter in all of Rolling Thunder. To date, we are still one of the largest chapters. We are not a motorcycle club. Many of us ride motorcycles to draw attention to our cause as we go to and from ceremonies. Each year, Chapter 4 Tennessee donates thousands of hours of volunteer service to the VA Medical Center at Mountain Home. We support many homeless veterans in the area, donate money, food, and clothing to several charities, and we perform ceremonies and donate POW, MIA flags year-round to any group or organization that desires to fly the flag. Our mission statement. The major function of Rolling Thunder Incorporated is to publicize the POW MIA issue, to educate the public that many American prisoners of war were left behind after all previous wars, and to help correct the past and protect the future veterans from being left behind should they become prisoners of war missing in action. We are also committed to helping American veterans from all wars. Rolling Thunder Incorporated is a 501c-4 nonprofit chartered organization. Chapter members will now explain the significance of the table setting. We have some honored guests who cannot be with us, who deserve to be honored with our attention and respect. This ceremony calls for designating a POW MIA place setting as a physical symbol of the thousands of American POW MIAs still unaccounted for from all foreign conflicts. May we all be reminded to spare no effort in securing the release of any American prisoners from captivity. the repatriation of the remains of those who died bravely in defense of liberty, and a full accounting of those missing in action. The ceremony explains the symbolism of the POW MIA place setting. The table.
The table is small, symbolizing the helplessness of one person alone against his oppressor.
The chair.
The chair is empty, for they cannot be here.
The cloth.
The tablecloth is white, for the purity of their intentions in responding to their country's call to arms.
The salt.
The salt is symbolic of the tears shed by those who wait.
The glass.
The glass is in burning, for they cannot toast with us.
The lemon.
A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate.
The napkin.
The napkin is black, symbolizing the black hearts of some of our leaders and politicians who abandoned and forgot them.
The rose.
The single red rose in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones who kept faith, awaiting the return of our POWs MIA.
The ribbons.
The yellow, red, and black ribbons represent those ribbons and symbols worn upon the lapels and breasts of thousands who bear witness to our nation's unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our POWs MIA.
The Bible.
The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God.
The hourglass.
The hourglass represents the eternal passing of the sands of time and is a continual reminder that with each passing day, the chances of a joyous return back home diminishes.
The flag.
The flag is a symbol of our great nation. Old Glory waves to inspire and remind us of the many brave Americans who paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we may live in freedom. And it represents our entire efforts to achieve freedom, liberty, and justice for all.
The candle.
The candle is the light of hope which lives in our hearts to eliminate the way home, out of the hands of their oppressor and to the arms of a grateful nation.
Remember, we all call them comrades, brothers, sisters, and friends. Do not let them be forgotten, for surely they have not forgotten us. Please pause for a moment of silence in honor of the over 83,000 Americans who are prisoners of war and missing in action. Thank you. The Missing Man Table Ceremony is a strong reminder to all who witnessed them that we will never forget the servicemen and women left behind on the battlefields of foreign lands. We will always honor their service, their sacrifices for our freedom, and dead or alive, they all deserve to come home. Thanks to you all on behalf of our total chapter membership. This concludes Rolling Thunder's ceremony.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Flannery. I'm Director of Veterans Affairs at East Tennessee State. I want to start by saying this is more than an honor and privilege for me to be able to assist our veterans as they transition back from combat to classroom. We have a wonderful student body of veterans here, and I want to give a round of applause to them. Thank you to the Veterans Affairs Standing Committee, Rolling Thunder, Andy Price, Colonel Ham, President Nolan, Major Soto, Lieutenant Colonel Bishop, Lieutenant General Hite, our ROTC cadets, cadre, and alumni, and our guests today, whether you are a visitor, student, alumni, faculty, or staff. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our veterans with us today. I'm not going to elaborate on the latest with ROTC. It's great news. Not my position to deal with that, but I do have a quote that I think is fitting for today. With the good news in hand, finally, that we've received, I want to share a quote. If you're ever going to see a rainbow, you've got to stand a little rain. So, with that said, I had a lot of things I wanted to say today because veterans are very near and dear to our heart here on campus, to this administration's heart, and to the community. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to share a quote by Father Dennis Edward O'Brien, United States Marine Corps. What is a veteran? Some veterans bear visible signs of their service, a missing limb, a jagged scar, a certain look in the eye. Others may carry the evidence inside them, a pin holding a bone together, a piece of shrapnel in the leg, perhaps another sort of inner steel, the soul's ally forged in the refinery of adversity. Except in parades, however, the men and women who have kept America safe wear no badge or emblem. You can't tell a vet just by looking. She or he is the nurse who fought against futility and went to sleep sobbing every night for 2 solid years in Da Nang. He is the POW who went away one person and came back another, or didn't come back at all. He is the Quantico drill instructor who has never seen combat, but has saved countless lives by turning slouchy, no-account rednecks and gang members into Marines and teaching them to watch each other's backs. He is the parade-riding Legionnaire who pins on his ribbons and medals with a prosthetic hand. He is the 3 anonymous heroes in the Tomb of the Unknowns, whose presence at Arlington National Cemetery must forever preserve the memory of all the anonymous heroes whose valor dies, unrecognized with them on the battlefield or in the ocean's sunless deep. He is the old guy bagging groceries at the supermarket, palsied now and aggravatingly slow, who helped liberate a Nazi death camp, and who wishes all day long that his wife were still alive to hold him when nightmares come. He is an ordinary and yet extraordinary human being, a person who offered some of his life's most vital years in the service of his country, who sacrificed his ambition so others would not have to sacrifice theirs. He is a soldier and a savior and a sword against the darkness. He is nothing more than the finest, greatest testimony on behalf of the finest, greatest nation ever known. So remember, each time you see someone who has served our country, just lean over and say thank you. That's all most people need. In most cases, it'll mean more to them than any medals that have been awarded could. 2 little words that mean a lot. Thank you. So on behalf of ETSU, Johnson City, East Tennessee, thank you to our veterans. I'd like now to introduce you to Mr. Andy Price.
Thank you, Kevin, for the introduction. Today is the day for all veterans. However, I would like to take a minute to tell you about the story of one student veteran here at ETSU. Once he arrived here in the summer of 2009, a veteran welcomed him with a kind, warm smile. The Veterans Affairs Coordinator at the time was Amanda, and she was a great asset to all the student veterans here. If she didn't know something about financial aid or other issues, she had the links to help within the university to help us, and had the personnel available to help us. So she would send us to a financial aid assistant named Jeremy. Later, Jeremy transferred into the VA office when she went on maternity leave. And then he ended up staying a little bit longer. Jeremy needed help in the summer of 2010 in the VA office and reached out to a veteran that had the heart and the passion to help others, but not the direction. The guidance he provided to this veteran would change his life forever. After a couple of years, Jeremy graduated with a Master's in Business Administration here at ETSU, and then ETSU made the choice to hire Kevin Flannery to continue the trend of going above and beyond for our veterans. Kevin not only continued the trend, but he improved on it by leaps and bounds. Currently, the student veteran is developing a class for veterans transitioning into college, about to graduate with a master's degree in social work, and embark on a new career path both personally and professionally. Without these experiences here at ETSU, none of this would be possible. The student veteran mentioned earlier would like to thank everyone that has been a part of this journey that will forever shape his life. Due in part to the encouragement and leadership provided by Kevin and Jeremy, the student veteran started a chapter of the Student Veterans of America here at ETSU, and in doing so created a tradition here and continued the service that ETSU so richly deserves. But without the support and the encouragement of Amanda Lasecki, Jeremy Lofquist, Tom Donahoe, Cheryl Burnett, Kevin Flannery, and countless others, the student veteran and the SVA chapter here at ETSU would not be as successful as it is today. ETSU made another good choice in hiring the next speaker today. Since arriving in office, he has been nothing short of amazing when it comes to helping others at ETSU. He has been instrumental in the opening of the Student Veterans Lounge in Yoakley Hall, to the beautiful redesign that we're here today of the green space, the implementation of the Buck Hero program that Kevin helped create, and the determination shown to help ROTC be a part of the ETSU tradition here. It is with great pride and honor I introduce President Dr. Ron Nolan.
Good morning. It's truly an honor to be with you here today as this campus and our community pauses to honor the men and women who have served our nation, as well as those who are currently in active service. It is a day in which we pay tribute to the more than 500 students at this institution who are veterans, and to the more than 1,400 alumni who were commissioned through our ROTC program. And it is an occasion in which we remember those who gave their lives in the ultimate sacrifice for this great country. Today, to all of those men and women, this campus and our entire community says thank you. This morning, I had the honor of rededicating the Veterans Memorial at East Tennessee State University, which was unveiled a decade ago in a ceremony on November 11th, 2003. A Veterans Memorial Committee that was formed 2 years earlier led the fundraising efforts for this project. Catherine Murray, who is now our department chair in art and design, carved the marble monument and cast the bronze helmet. The entire initiative was made possible through private gifts, including support from the Rolling Thunder organization, which provided funds for the MIA POW flag that raises awareness of the nation's prisoners of war and those missing in action. This memorial was relocated during the past year as construction of the area behind you began. Today, our Veterans Memorial sits at the center of our campus, here in the shadows of the building named in honor of our first president, Sidney Gilbreth. As I walk across this campus every day, I do so with great pride, knowing that I have the honor to walk in the footsteps of the 10 ETSU graduates who died in service in active duty. Today, join me as we pay tribute and remember those 10 men whose names are part of this memorial. They are Captain Alvin K. Broyles, who was killed April 28, 1965. Captain Donald J. Fillers, who died in service on May 28, 1965. Captain Eugene D. Franklin, June 24, 1965. Major Billy J. Nave, June 27, 1966. First Lieutenant Douglas L. Jones, October 12, 1966. Captain Gordon O. Walsh, April 16th, 1967. First Lieutenant Daniel L. Mullins, August 31st, 1967. Captain James E. Reed, February 1st, 1968. First Lieutenant James D. Duggar, October 16th, 1972. And Captain Daniel E. Graybill, February 27th, 1991. To the family members and the loved ones of these 10 men, to those others who've lost their lives, to our current veterans, and to those in active service, today we say thank you. It's my distinct honor and privilege to turn the program over to Lieutenant Colonel Dan Bishop, who currently leads our ROTC programs here at ETSU. He leads a group of young men and women who have been through a trying fall, but he leads forward a group of young men and women who walk in the footsteps of excellence of those 1,400 students who've received their commission from this institution. Lieutenant Colonel Bishop.
This is perfect Army weather right here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the cadets and staff of the Buck Battalion, we'd like to thank you for being with us today. And following the announcement last evening that our program will not close, what a wonderful day it is, despite the weather. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of you. Thank you for your support during this very trying time. And while our program will face challenges over the next several years, I am very confident that we will overcome any obstacle to solidify our future here at East Tennessee State University. Now, as part of our celebration, I had the very distinct pleasure of introducing two of our ETSU veterans. Lieutenant General Height, a distinguished alum of ETSU and of the Buck Battalion, and Major Mario Soto, a third-year student at the Quillen College of Medicine and an honorary member of our battalion. Lieutenant General Ronald Height is a native of Washington County and is a graduate of ETSU's class of 1964. General Height was recognized as a distinguished military graduate while earning his commission as an infantry officer. Following attendance at the infantry officer basic course, airborne, and ranger schools, General Height served our nation for 33 distinguished years, commanding at virtually every level in the United States and abroad. Among his many accomplishments, he was selected to be the first commander of the Army's Combat Systems Test Activity in Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. In his last assignment, he served as the military deputy to the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Research, Development, and Acquisition, providing testimony before the House and Senate Defense Committees and directing the Army's Acquisition Corps. Currently, General Height is the president and CEO of Cypress International, an Alexandria, Virginia-based company which assists clients in planning, business development, and marketing of defense and aerospace products and services worldwide. He also remains an extremely active supporter of ETSU and specifically the Buck Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Lieutenant General Ronald Height.
Well, thank you all very much. I have to admit, my good friend Roger Kennedy, who runs our ETSU Foundation, he offered me his hat when I showed up, and I thought about it a minute. I almost took it, but I know how much hair I have versus how much Roger has, so I said, Roger, you better keep it. In the Army, we have two kinds of Rangers. We have the summer Rangers, and we have the winter Rangers. Well, I'm a winter Ranger, so I love this kind of weather. But I do have to tell you that underneath this shirt, I have my Washington County Farmers Co-op long sleeve shirt and my long handles. So don't think I'm too tough. Colonel Bishop, thank you for the introduction. I can't tell you what an outstanding job Colonel Bishop has done with our program here. And what many people don't understand that's not in this business, every day is that Colonel Bishop really has two chains of command. And when all of this nonsense about closing down our program hit, he had to walk a very tight line, and we talked about that. He has a direct report up through a colonel to a two-star general. Then he has a direct report up through Dr. Garceau, through Dr. Nolan. So, and he did just a fantastic job in walking that line without violating any of the trust on either chain of command. So thank you, Dan, for that. Dr. Nolan, I am truly honored to be here to honor these 10 individuals behind us and all those many others who have lost their lives in defense of our nation. And I look out here and I see so many great supporters of this university. Senator Crow, thank you for all your support over the years. And John Abe Teague, who is a staffer for our great Congressman Phil Rowe, thank you, and please pass on our thanks to Phil for all his great work in supporting this university, especially over the last few weeks. What a wonderful tribute this is for those who have served and given their all to our nation. Congratulations, Dr. Nolan, for your vision that resulted in this green space. I have to tell you, back in the 1960s, when walking across here, you always had to wonder if you're going to get hit by a car as you're running from one class to another. But, and also, congratulations and thanks to those who redesigned this area, especially this monument, and got it relocated over here. I can also, I believe, speak for the many ETSU student veterans. Dr. Nolan and his staff are extremely supportive and pay a lot of attention to that program. And I know as I speak for them, they can give their thanks for this. ETSU is definitely a veteran-friendly university, and Dr. Nolan has pledged to make it even better for our veterans. Now, this memorial is especially close to my heart, as several of these 10 ROTC graduates were officers which I served with in some capacity in going through school here or served with in the Army. Captain Eddie Reed, whose name is honored by Buccaneer Battalion and the Captain Eddie Reed Ranger Company, was one of my very best friends through our 4 years of service of school here together and during his short time of Army service. We lived together during airborne school. And I happened to be in close proximity to Captain Reed when he became one of the over 58,000 killed in action during the Vietnam conflict. A conflict which, as we look back over history, makes little or no sense. Next Monday, America salutes and honors the service and sacrifices of our nation's veterans. And this holiday evolved over the years from Armistice Day, proclaimed by President Woodrow Wilson back in 1918, to the present day national holiday celebrated the 11th of each November. Now, I come from a family of Army veterans, going all the way back to Major Isaac Hike, who was aide-de-camp to General George Washington during the Revolutionary War. My grandfather was in France as a soldier in the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One, when the armistice was signed. This occurred at 11 o'clock in the morning on the 11th day of the 11th month. World War I was supposed to be the war that ended all wars. Unfortunately, this myth was shattered when the hostilities in Europe led to World War II, which both my father and his younger brother served in that war. Think about this just a second. Looking back over the 238 plus years of our history, we have been engaged in wars or conflicts 155 years of that existence. Think about that. Put it another way, we've been in these wars or conflicts 65% of our time. And these 155 years of conflict have taken the lives of over 1 million Americans, some young, some older. And today, America has over 23 million veterans who have served our nation with honor, dating back to World War II. And many of you veterans are here today. Now, Veterans Day not only honors those 23 million veterans, but is also a reminder to us of their sacrifice and dedication to our nation. This special day should be a beacon for us, and more importantly, for future generations to remember and understand that freedom isn't free, regardless of what some people may speak about on TV. Serving your nation is a very risky business. Martin Luther King once said, "Service is the rent that you pay for the space you occupy." And I submit to you that our veterans have more than paid for the space that they occupy. Our debt to these veterans is an obligation and a solemn duty, a duty which every American should embrace. In all our nation's wars, one undisputed fact stands out. Our veterans performed superbly and accomplished all asked of them. They did so with courage and honor. I ask that you pause for just a moment and reflect on the following. As a nation, we didn't get freedom of religion from our preachers. We didn't get the freedom to vote from our politicians. We didn't get the freedom of the press from the media. And we didn't get freedom of speech from all our lawyers. All of these basic freedoms came from our forefathers who fought and died for them, and from our 23 million veterans scattered across this great country now. And these freedoms are guaranteed and underwritten every day by those who serve and those who will be our future veterans. I'm proud to be a veteran and a product of this ROTC program, a program which over the past 60 years, as Dr. Nolan mentioned, has produced over 1,400 young officers for service in various military specialties. A program which is an integral part of this university, and a program whose loss would be devastating not only to the university, but also to our surrounding region. Now that we have the good news, we must all continue to do our utmost to ensure our program remains successful, a part of this campus, providing future leaders for our service to our nation, and providing our veterans of tomorrow. And to those families whose loved ones' names appear here behind me on this memorial, we give our heartfelt thanks for the ultimate sacrifice made by each of these courageous Americans. We can never repay them for their losses. To our many veterans who are here today, I salute you for your service to our nation and ask that you continue to support this great university and our outstanding ROTC program. I'm going to conclude now with a prayer. It's a prayer written by a Civil War soldier, and the prayer is titled, I ask for. I asked for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and God gave me problems to solve. I asked for prosperity, and God gave me brain and brawn to work. I asked for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love, and God gave me troubled people to help. And I asked for favors, and God gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted, yet I received everything I needed. So, as you celebrate and enjoy our national holiday this coming Monday, I ask that you pause for a moment as you're going through today to reflect on just how much these departed veterans whose names are here behind me on this monument and our 23 million veterans across this nation have sacrificed to ensure our freedom. I know that my thoughts will be with them, especially with my dear departed friend, Captain Eddie Reed. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Major Mario Soto. Major Soto is a native of Snellville, Georgia, and first entered service with the United States Army as a West Point cadet in 1995. He regrets every day he was not a member of the Buck Battalion. Major Soto graduated from West Point and earned his commission as an armor officer in 1999. He served as a platoon leader and later as a company executive officer and battalion scout platoon leader for the 1st Battalion, 63rd Armor, Vilseck, Germany. Major Soto deployed to Kosovo and later to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in April of 2003. Upon graduating the Special Forces Detachment Officers Qualification Course in July of 2005, he was assigned to 1st Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group, where he deployed to Colombia, Panama, as well as to Afghanistan as part of Operation Enduring Freedom. He then served as commander of Headquarters Company, U.S. Army Special Operations Command, and U.S. Army Special Forces Command from April 2008 to June of 2010. Major Soto is currently a third-year medical student at the Quinlan College of Medicine and will continue his service as an Army doctor upon graduation in May of 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Major Mario Soto.
Colonel Bishop, a small correction there. I'm now a fourth-year medical student, so you're robbing me of a year. Yeah, and like General Hyde, I too am a Winter Ranger, but I'm also a seventh grouper, which is South America. It's generally warm down there, and that's the kind of weather I prefer. But it's a good day to be a Ranger. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the students at East Tennessee State University, I would like to welcome President Brian Nolan, Lieutenant General Retired Ronald Height, other distinguished guests of ETSU, the Quinlan College of Medicine, the Veterans Affairs, and the officers, NCOs, and cadets of the Buccaneer Battalion for their attendance today at the rededication of this beautiful Veterans Memorial. As many of you all are aware, the graduates and students at ETSU have a rich history of military service. And over the last 60 years, the ROTC program has produced some of our nation's finest leaders. As we celebrate Veterans Day, I would like to offer my deepest gratitude to the vets in attendance of today's ceremony. This memorial is just a small token of thanks for the sacrifices you've made on behalf of a grateful nation. I would also like to recognize our future veterans as well. You're about to enter military service at a time of great uncertainty and change for the armed forces. Your commitment to keeping our nation safe during present wars and future conflicts is commendable. Now, General Height stole a little bit of my thunder on this, but I'd like to begin talking a little bit about the history of Veterans Day and how changes in warfare over the last 90 years haven't really changed the meaning of this celebration. World War I officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919. However, fighting ceased about 7 months earlier when an armistice between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. In November of 1919, President Woodrow Wilson said the following words: "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory." Warfare is constantly evolving, and since the end of the Great War, the nature of warfare has arguably experienced some of its greatest change. Now more than ever, we are embattled against small groups of violent non-state actors, and we rely a lot on technology for a wide range of military applications. However, there is no substitute for boots on the ground, and as long as soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are sent into harm's way to protect this nation, President Wilson's words will always ring true. I would also like to share a few words of gratitude about the veterans community in and around ETSU and how they helped ease my transition from a Special Forces operator to an Army physician. Serving on active duty as a leader in the United States Army is the greatest privilege that I've ever had. When I decided to pursue a medical degree here at ETSU, I knew that I would have to leave active service and enter the reserves during these 4 years of training. It was a really tough decision to make, leaving something that I loved, but it was a risk that I was willing to take. I came to ETSU in 2010 with little knowledge of the area, but I was soon welcomed with open arms by a cadre of people, both here at the university and at the Veterans Affairs office, who genuinely cared about my well-being and they took the time to help me navigate through the complicated VA bureaucracy, which I'm sure a lot of you all are aware of, to get all the benefits that I deserved. So for the current and future vets in attendance, rest assured that you will always have a place to call home here at ETSU. The faculty and staff truly care about your well-being and about your success, and the Office of Veterans Affairs does a tremendous job at easing that transition from the military to the classroom. This monument behind me is a testament to that fact. And lastly, I would like to comment a little bit about the ROTC cadets that I've had the opportunity to work with and counsel over the last few years, and the caliber of future leaders that are among our ranks today. A few months ago, I was out on the West Coast at Fort Lewis, Washington for some training, and I was fortunate enough to run into the former cadet commander of the ETSU ROTC program, now Second Lieutenant George Ford. After we exchanged our hellos, he said to me, "I'm on the operations staff for the ROTC Leader Development and Assessment course. It's just the colonel, a captain, and me. They got me working 20-hour days, planning training for about 1,000 cadets, and I can't believe the staff has been cut so thin. Last year, they had about 3 times the number of people doing the same amount of work." Second Lieutenant Ford had big old wild eyes of somebody that's sleep deprived and surviving purely off of caffeine, and the unsteadiness that we all have when we're thrust into a new position of increased responsibility. So I asked him, "Have they fired you yet?" And he replied, "No." I then asked, "Is the colonel or the captain yelling at you every day?" To which he also replied, "Of course not." I then reassured him that he was doing a fine job and reminded him that of all the recent graduates of the ROTC program throughout the nation, he was specifically chosen for this job because of the leadership that he demonstrated here at ETSU. So to all you future leaders out there, earning rank is the easy part. Succeeding in jobs of increased responsibility that follow, both in the military and in civilian life, is a challenge that you're going to face for the rest of your life. So like those that have gone before you, this memorial should serve as a reminder of the legacy that ETSU has of producing excellent leaders. And this past summer, the ETSU ROTC program had a real unique opportunity to send one of its cadets, who's in attendance here today, to the Special Forces Combat Diver Qualification course. Now this is a course that rarely anybody in the Army can even get, much less a cadet, so it's quite an honor to even be considered for this school. This is a grueling 7-week school, and it's the most difficult course in the Army in terms of both mental and physical toughness, and one that boasts about a 60% or greater attrition rate, and this is among the finest soldiers in Army Special Operations. So Cadet Dayton came to me and asked if I'd help train him, and he and I spent quite a few hours in various pools in and around ETSU and Kingsport, and we even got kicked out of a pool or two for training that was deemed a little too intense. But this didn't deter Cadet Dayton. He went down to Key West, Florida, and he not only passed the course, but he finished at the top of his class. This is a tremendous accomplishment for both Cadet Dayton and the ROTC program here at ETSU. And I hope that his hard work and his perseverance inspires all of you all to pursue your dreams, no matter how difficult the challenge or how great the odds. I'd like to thank everybody that selected me to speak on behalf of all the students here at ETSU today. And I hope that this beautiful new space will serve as both an inspiration and a reminder for the future leaders of the great military tradition here at ETSU. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony today. Thank you very much for being with us today, and go Bucks.